in Kairosoft, we make sure to use materials that are within reach on site. So that way, we first of all try to reduce the amount of vehicles that have to transport materials here, so therefore reducing the CO2 emission that would generate from transporting materials. So we get to harness materials on site like sand, and sometimes we could get clay and silt on site here. Also laterite, so when we're doing our filling and backfilling, we use materials that are already on site, so we don't have to transport most of them. Also, when it comes to construction, we try to focus on resilience of the structures. So in any case where we have to, in some years to come, projecting, we'll probably have to remove the houses. The impact of removing those houses on the environment are not poisonous to the environment. So we use materials like polystyrene that are easily detachable. We use wood, we use some iron panels to do our installations. So we just remove them and they are very much detachable. So, and also the durability of the reinforcement that we use is to ensure that over a very long time, a long lifespan, we don't have houses that cannot withstand climate change conditions. So it will cost you more money and it will cost you more material usage to have to rebuild a house than building the house at first with the proper materials, no matter how much it's costing. So it's more like saying it's penny wise, pound foolish, over just trying to check how much I can save on the starting, when some years to come you have to maintain and renovate what you could have avoided. So yeah, in those ways we've tried to reduce the environmental impact that can be negative in the area we are constructing. Alright, currently we are working on the construction of 500 meters road in the off community here in Idu. And one of the things we made sure to do was to try to eliminate the amount of CO2 that we emit by making sure that our materials majorly for the subgrade level is harnessed from the site here. So we are saving ourselves on these 500 meters of road, we are saving ourselves about 400 trucks of 30 tons capacity bringing materials into this place. So that's about 16,000 cubic meters that we're saving. And that means the CO2 footprint that should have been left for wherever those trucks are coming from right to our site has been eliminated because we harnessed materials here on this site. Alright, so right from the design stage, we designed our houses with very large windows. And the reason for the large windows is one, for lighting. So you get to save on energy by having this kind of windows in your house. You don't have to spend energy to light them. We have natural lighting from the size of the windows. Also, the headrooms that we have per floor is about 2.8 meters, and that allows for the air circulation in the room to be faster. So you get to have your room cooled naturally in a short amount of time. That saves you energy on how much you have to spend on cooling units for the house. Also, by having bigger windows, you save on cooling units because once the house is hot, you just have to open your windows. It is wide enough to allow for immediate and very fast airflow in the house. We have alternatives to our energy supplies, and the major one that we are using, we are going off-grid, and that means we are using gas stations to generate the power for the entire community. That's the 46 hectares community that we are currently developing in Idu. We also have smaller alternatives per house. Those are the solar panels and the inverter batteries. So these are alternatives that are very nature friendly, they are very sustainable, and they get to generate just the appropriate and the needed amount of energy for what you want to use them for. We also have the other alternative, that is the bio-waste alternative, where what is considered as waste, so to say, we are using it to generate energy. So in that way, we have different alternatives and different ways to generate energy and to use those energy that is not detrimental to the health of the society and to the health of the atmosphere. All right, so in Kairosoft, our houses are going to be EDGE certified, and EDGE is an initiative of the IFC, member of the World Bank Group. EDGE means excellence in design for greater efficiency. So we are putting into consideration that our houses have to be certified in such a way that bodies like the World Bank can recognize it as something that is sustainable enough in our generation and generations after that.
We have taken the lean logistics approach. So what this basically just means is that, for instance, during this road construction, we didn't just have a bunch of heavy machines here on site, working all at the same time. By so doing, having them emit a large volume of CO2 here on site, which we know is something that we as a company, we are looking to mitigate. That's one of it. Also, we have decentralized our storage. Apart from our 2 primary storages, we have 4 secondary storages here on site. And so what we focus to achieve with those storages is that we intentionally reduced the number of vehicular movement here on site, so because we have had all these materials deposited where they will be needed, because we develop in clusters, so they have been stored in clusters to service whatever clusters they have been registered to serve. Also, we have our block production points or stations. We have 3 of them here on site, and all of them are decentralized because we need also for them to be able to serve the clusters. So all 3 of them have clusters that have been registered up, against their names, so they know that these are the clusters they ought to serve. Because again, we are looking to reduce the number of vehicles that we'll have to have on site, transporting all these blocks that have been manufactured, and the number of times they'll have to go. I'll give you an instance. So it takes about 750 to 950, depends on the topography of the area being developed, blocks, 9-inch blocks, to construct the damp-proof course of a 5-bedroom fully detached here in the Hof community. And so averagely, 1 truck takes about 400 9-inch blocks. And so if we have about 850 or say 800, that means the truck will be going twice to be able to fulfill the number of 9-inch block that will be required just for the DPC. And now do this math, multiply it by the 100, multiply it by 500. So you can imagine the volume of CO2 that will be emitted, into the ozone layer. And so because of how much we have decentralized these production sites, we have succeeded in reducing the number of vehicular movements required for transportation. These things are very swift. Sometimes we just have, these handymen, move them in trucks because they are just a stone throw away from where they are needed. Also, our delivery, our form of stocking, we don't just stock, have a lot of trucks delivering things for us on site. We schedule them, and we have a 2 weeks time lag which we use. So we apply this 2 weeks time duration for us to effectively achieve our goal. So we know when XYZ material is arriving on site, we know to what volume that we are expecting, and so immediately we know where what is going. And so the moment we have that on site, it goes directly to where it's needed. They offload and they leave our site immediately. So these are some of the measures that as a firm we have intentionally looked at, and then we have said, for we to achieve what we are focused on, we must ensure that we implement these from the set goal. Currently, we are all running on high CO2 emitting vehicles, but then in the next 2 years, by mid 2024, we are focused to transiting to hybrid vehicles, and we have looked at hybrid vehicles that are Nigerian friendly. That's the series and the parallel hybrid vehicles. So because we readily don't have enough charge stations because of the epileptic power situation in this part of the country or in the part of the world at large, so we are focused on a gradual transition. Firstly, using the either the parallel or the series hybrid automobiles. And so that way, when we get it right, we're looking that in 3 years afterwards, that's by mid 2027, we must have fully transitioned into electric vehicles. Even here on site, most of our handy tools and equipment that we use are all powered by clean energy. We don't allow generators, even during construction, we don't have generators on site. It's absolutely a no-no for us. So we are not waiting until we are 100% before we begin implementation. We are ensuring that we inculcate this lifestyle into our own staffs. So it is of importance to us that our staffs understand what we are focused on doing, and it becomes a part of themselves. It becomes their daily life, something that they can boldly go outside and they speak of, and they wouldn't be speaking from a position of lack of knowledge, but as a result of experience, they can boldly tell persons that, look, this is doable, we are currently doing it, and you can come on site and you see firsthand that these are already in progress, and they are not just mere wishes, but then these are things that we have already begun to apply here at different scales on site. So another measure we take is that we ensure to procure materials that propagate our energy conservation and sustainability drive. And so this is very clear in our application or in our utilization of polystyrene and bricks in our construction processes. And so both of them have this property that is known as thermal mass. So basically what that means in a layman language is when it's hot outside, when the temperature outside is quite warm, it's cool inside, and if it's cool outside, it's warm inside. And so as a result, you'll be requiring lesser energy to either cool your house or get your house warm, also even in line with the type of glasses we procure that we use for our windows, and then what our doors are like. Also, we ensure that our reinforced materials are very ductile, and so these are maybe seeming insignificant, but these are very vital measures that we take towards delivering sustainable homes.